Ladies and gentlemen.
Uh-oh.
It's time for the Early Bird Special. Bringing you the best stories from the world of sports and sports entertainment. Now, here are your hosts, Sparky and Burdick.
Well, good Tuesday morning, Bakersfield, surrounding communities, and everybody watching online on YouTube and Twitch. This is the Early Bird Special. I'm Chris Burdick. That is Sparky. Sparky, good all-star game morning.
Yippee.
Let them know what they're in for.
We'll get into all sorts of stuff. We'll get into the all-star game later tonight right here on ESPN Bakersfield. We'll recap the home run derby, which was very entertaining. We've got some NFL news. We'll run down the commish of baseball who was on McAfee yesterday, and we'll have our boy 24KG getting into a little wrestling at 8:00, and we'll wrap up. We'll get into this Teddy Bridgewater news. I said it, Teddy Bridgewater. And you can call or text in anytime during the show at 661-842-2000. If we don't get to your text, we will get to it on the next show.
Yeah, we will hold on to every single message you guys send us, I promise. Jeremy, I did see your messages on the YouTube channel as well, so we'll get to those as soon as we can. But we got to talk about this home run derby.
Woohoo!
I mean, you obviously were ecstatic. I mean, your guy beat out mine by literally 0.08 inches. I mean, that's not inches, but you know what I mean. 0.08 feet. That was pretty entertaining, though.
Yeah, we made a night out of it. Me and my son. He'd never watched a home run derby, so
really?
I let him pick a guy in the beginning.
Nice.
And
just kind of made it work.
Dragged out, so we did the over under during other batters, and the loser had to do 10 push-ups. So
there you go.
We made a night out of it.
So don't leave everybody hanging. Obviously, I know who your son took, but
my son took Junior, which we were happy. We both got into the championship face-off.
And you know what? Junior looked good.
Yes.
I was kind of worried that the bright lights of All-Star Weekend were going to get to the young buck, but he is a stud for Tampa Bay. And the more I watch him, and the more I watch his Tampa Bay team and everybody on it, the more I just think, God, man, if Wander Franco could have just
acted right.
Oh, my God. Like, could you imagine where Tampa Bay could be right now if Wander Franco and Junior are playing right next to each other? I was texting my buddy that last night. Like, I know Dodger fans and all that don't really care because it's not the Dodgers. I totally understand that. But for those of us who are baseball fans, and you really think about what could have been in Tampa Bay, especially a small market team that just sold yesterday, and we'll get to that in a second as well. What could have been. It's one of those stories. It really, really is. But the home run derby, I give it a B because I won't lie, as entertaining as it was, and it was very entertaining, there were some stinkers. Jazz, I get you were trying to keep your swing. And actually, that's smart for the rest of the season, so I'll give you credit for that. But you're in the home run derby, bud. The whole point, literally, the whole point of you being there is to hit home runs as far as you possibly can. Adjust the swing a little bit, please. Don't go up there and give us 3 and make the league look stupid for putting you in this in the first place.
Well, we wouldn't have that issue if the sluggers would actually play in it.
You know what? That's absolutely true. All of this would. And you know what's funny is, and we'll get to this in the audio that we pulled, because Jeff Passan kind of said something on McAfee yesterday that I found a little interesting. But I'll get to that in a second. This entire home run derby, though, was like you said, entertaining to watch. We got to see the first switch hitter win the entire thing.
First catcher
to ever win the entire thing. The second Mariner to ever win the entire thing, behind my favorite baseball player and all of your favorite baseball players' favorite baseball player, Ken Griffey Jr.
That was one of the main reasons I picked the Mariners.
Absolutely.
And he was in attendance, which was awesome to see.
That was really cool. Every time they panned to him, I'm like, please walk up there. Please. Just put the hat on and walk up there. Give us one more swing, kid, please. But, it's never going to happen, and I totally understand. But it was a great story. And either way, whoever won this, either Cal or Junior, I think it was really cool. Cal is obviously every accolade we just mentioned. Junior would have been the youngest to ever win the event. which would have been a cool story as well, especially coming in and having such a sweet swing.
Oh my gosh, he had me
Him and
nervous.
O'Neal, man.
He had me
I
nervous, but that swing
swear.
just takes too long.
Yeah, it does.
And
Well,
that's
I don't know if the swing takes too long
the
or
whole setup.
the setup does. Exactly. He actually has the fastest bat swing besides O'Neal Cruz in the majors.
And I was worried about Cruz too.
You know,
he came out swinging
Cruz
too.
missiles were in
Everywhere.
I mean, that was what I was really happy about when I heard O'Neal was coming in. It's like, okay, although he doesn't have the numbers to back it up, O'Neal's got the power and the athletic ability to just come out and make it a show. And dang near did 513 feet. That was the longest he hit. He had two other ones that were 498. This dude was slugging it. And the only reason that he lost in the second round is because he got tired. You could tell. I mean, at the end, they weren't even trying. The pitcher was just like, you know what? Just I'm going to lob these in there. Let me present this to all of the listeners too, and to you, though. I watch this event every single year. And it always baffles me that I get that you want, the fastest pitch to the catcher, especially when you only have 40 swings, or I'm sorry, 40 pitches to deal with in the first round. But why do these pitchers not ever give up just fat, like, you know what I mean? Like hanging slider right across the middle, especially when you need one that's just going to, like, a nuke shot to give you that extra time. I'm going to throw the fattest changeup right dead center down the middle for this guy to hit. I never understand why you see situations like, well, Brent Rooker ran into this issue late in his first round. Brent Rooker got off to a really, really good start. And then late in the round, you could tell he was kind of getting sluggish and tired. But also those pitches that were getting thrown were terrible. Some of them were so high out of the zone. I'm like, dude, ball. Like, what are we doing?
It was cool with the story with Cal. He had his dad and his
really cool.
little brother playing catcher.
Can you imagine?
But his pitching was horrible.
Yeah, well, I
mean, he got beaten by a pitch.
Here's the thing, though. Dad is also a former head coach for the University of Tennessee and has pretty much.
And you could tell he was getting tired.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. They interviewed him, at least on the radio side. I don't know if they interviewed him on television, but they were asking me, like, how do you stay this spry at your age and all that type of stuff? He's like, honestly, I'm just a baseball guy. I've been throwing a baseball for so dang long that my body's used to it right now. And it feels weird not throwing a baseball. But I do agree with you. There's a handful that Cal, including the one he got beaned. I was like, Dad, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like,
so if you didn't win it,
what are your guys
calling about that?
Yeah, I get that you don't want hanging slider or hanging curveballs because obviously the time it takes for that curveball to get to the backstop. But just what do you guys think? Do you think that they should at least make these pitches just easier for them to hit? I would assume as much BP as these guys take throughout the year, you'd be able to get a BP pitcher that could put it exactly where you would want it every single time. I was still pretty entertained though. From everything that we got, I give it a B. What would you give it, Spark?
I would say, B.
B. I think
only thing I would say is just the batters. I mean, we could have took it over.
Yeah.
To get that A if it was the judges and the Otanis, but I don't think we'll ever get it.
Cal Raleigh
won what, $1 million?
Yeah, $1 million, which I think is actually turned around and given back to charity of some
course,
sort,
but that they were saying some of the younger guys, that's more than they make in the whole season.
Yeah, so like some of the younger guys obviously like would probably hold on to the money, but I don't blame them. I mean, shoot, you won that fair and square, dude. That's
I was laughing because those big gloves that they've had.
Yeah,
big master or huge gloves.
Oh my! Can we talk about something?
You can talk about the kid.
The kid, yes,
the home run.
Now I'm glad they gave him the home run regardless. Like right off the bat, it wasn't even a question. But I've always had that in the back of my head too. What if these kids got just ballsy?
They were saying it happened like 40 years ago.
Yeah. Well, there were multiple instances in this home run derby, though. I don't know if it was the same kid, but he was hanging by the wall looking to rob some. And I'm like, dude, that's not what you're there to do. Like, but I mean,
he made his appearance on national TV.
He's got a story to go and tell his buddies at school tomorrow, which is awesome. But I'm just like, can you imagine being that kid right now that walked up to the 6-foot wall and said, yoink, and stole one from Junior? I can't believe
I loved it.
Dude, I thought it was great, but at the same time, I'm sitting there thinking, I'm kind of like Hal. I'm like, hey, he stole that. That doesn't count. Take that off his board. The funnest
part is when those kids are running into each other.
Oh, it gets ugly sometimes when they're all trying to catch a ball and they run into each other.
But some of those, like bouncing off the hotel windows, and I was like, damn, like some of these kids could really just hit them right out of the park. And I was entertained. I mean, we made a night out of it because in the beginning I was like, dude, get off your damn phone and come in the living room and watch this. Like it happens once a year.
Well, I'm glad that you brought up the fact that they're mostly young kids that are taking place, especially in the All-Star game and in the home run derby. Because let's go to our first audio of the day. This is Jeff Passan on McAfee yesterday. He was presented with a question by Ty Schmidt about the youth of baseball and how all of these first-time All-Stars are getting the nod rather than guys who have been in the league for a while and are statistically probably better choices. However, Passan brings up a very good point that the MLB is not just factoring in statistics into their All-Star game, but also entertainment and what people want to see. So let's hear from Jeff real quick.
Baseball right now in Shohei Ohtani and Aaron Judge have, I think, the two biggest stars of the last 25 years.
Yeah.
Like these are real transcendent across all sports names that people know who do things that people can really like look at and say, hey, that's impressive. Shohei Ohtani playing both ways, hitting 50 home runs and stealing 50 bases. These are things that, you know, baseball has a difficult time going across into the football realm, the basketball realm. But I think baseball has a moment right now, and those young stars are a big part of it. We're going to see one tonight in Junior Caminero. He's 21 years old. He's hit 20-plus home runs already in his first full season with the Tampa Bay Rays, has the fastest bat speed along with O'Neal Cruz in baseball, and has a chance to really put on a show tonight. And that's what the All-Star Game should be, right? Like, this is a show. This is why Major League Baseball chose Jacob Mizorowski to come here after 5 starts in the big leagues.
He's really good.
He might be a Hall of Famer. He might be a guy who flames out. We don't know at this point. It's too early in his career. But what we know he is right now is a guy who's going to go out there in one inning and throw 102 or 103 or who knows how hard and throw
maybe 105. I love that.
Listen,
he could.
He could. He's got that arm in him, and he's got that dog in him too. And I'm looking forward to seeing him go out there and pitch. Kansas City, Missouri represent.
So he brings up a very good point in this bite. 2 that I'm going to highlight. 1, this is all about entertainment. This is all about entertainment and competition. We'll get to Manfred's conversation with McAfee later, where he pretty much backs that in multiple ways. So if that is the case, that's why you're seeing a lot of these young stars get the nod over your Trey Turners, over your Mookie Bettses, over your, well, I can't name a pitcher right now that, well, Christopher Sanchez, for lack of a better name. I know it's a Philly guy, but it is what it is. A lot of these guys get the nod because they're 100-mile-an-hour fire throwers, and they bring eyes to the game. You don't need someone to go out there and pitch 3 to 4 to 5 innings during the All-Star game. So maybe it is a better idea that we focus on the guys that are actually going to bring people in and be interested. Because think about it, Sparky, in your case. In your son's case, would it be easier for him or more entertaining for him to walk into an all-star game where a guy's just kind of a run-of-the-mill pitcher throwing 95 miles an hour and maybe like a pretty solid curveball? Or is it going to be more entertaining for him to walk in and see a pitcher who's throwing 105? Which one's going to keep the kid watching the screen longer?
Probably the one that's pitching slower.
Do you think?
Personally, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because they don't want to watch strikeouts.
I don't know. I feel like if you're
These
looking
young
at
kids don't want to watch strikeouts. They want to watch the highlights.
See, again, when you have a genetic freak that could throw 105 miles an hour, though,
yeah, it's cool.
That's
for
my
a minute.
Point. But that's my thing. I
very
think
short term.
Let's pull it out to the listeners. Then I think personally, it's the
Not
other
the
way
younger
around.
crowd.
I don't know.
We're talking about these TikTok videos and the real watching their 30-second capacity and then moving on.
All right. Well, again, I'll call it out to the listeners then. What do you guys think? Do you think that it's more entertaining when you see a pitcher that could throw 105 or a guy who could hit a home run off of somebody who could throw 95? I mean, I see both. Don't get me wrong. I see entertainment in all of baseball.
We do.
Yeah.
We do.
But
I would say I would back 100%. Those younger kids don't want to watch sweet pitching.
Right. I mean, I get your point. Don't get me wrong.
It'll go right to the first text says, get rid of the human pitcher. We want robot pitching. If we're going to bring in robots, bring in robot pitching, and then maybe in a couple years we get a robot to hit home runs with them.
Okay, this is somebody who's clearly just upset about the ABS situation is trying to lash out. No, we're not going to go to pitching machines. Get out of here. But I mean, at this point, or at that point, you might as well go to what's it called, Blurns Ball from Futurama. I mean, just have nothing but robots. But no, let's not get crazy here. Personally, I just think that you have a Paul Skeens on the mound. It's much more entertaining, or it gets more eyes on it than having a Ranger Suarez, for those of you who know baseball. Or, for Dodger fans, would you rather see Tyler Glasnow or Shohei Ohtani? Or would you rather see, oh God, what's that kid's name that I can't remember that everybody does not care for? That guy. You know what I mean? Like it's there are different hypes to different games when there's going to be somebody that's really entertaining in the game. And when it comes to the All-Star game, it is a show. You're supposed to show off all the best players in baseball and all of their unique talents. So that's why I'm saying, like, I personally feel like if you have somebody that's a genetic all-star as well as just being a statistical all-star, might be a better idea for baseball to go that route and get more eyes on them. But I don't know. That's just me. But text in 661-842-2000. What do you guys think? Do you think it's a better idea for baseball to stick to statistical all-stars, or to stick to maybe the guys who would, I guess, genetically be better in a sense of having higher miles per hour or higher bat speeds or stuff like that to gain a little bit more of a genetic bump in their fan base watching, I guess the best way to put it. I really don't know the easy way to put this.
But I did see yesterday, Cal also announced that he's committed to play for the All-Star or for the Team USA.
Hell yeah. America.
So he'll join Judge, Bobby Witt, Jr., and the rest of the crew.
We are about to get this is going to be the dream team of baseball. If only we could sneak Shohei away from Japan. If only. But it is never going to happen. But
bring on the competition.
I'm just saying, I agree with you on that one, my friend. And we could have a stacked team for the Team USA here by the end of the season. I gotta think of a handful of other players that need to jump on this team. Pete Alonso, I think, from the Mets. I think you got to come play first base. We got to get a slugger there too. I don't know. There's a handful of guys that need to fill these spots. But do you think Mookie Betts jumps into this at some point as well?
Hopefully.
I mean,
I'm still gonna miss him in tonight's game. So
yeah. Well, again, and that's another one that you could bring up. Would you rather see a Mookie Betts in the game, or would you rather see a Bobby Witt Jr.? You know what I mean?
So I'm always Mookie. Mookie always.
I mean, I guess it's not a fair comparison.
I'm not a big Dodger fan, but I do love Mookie.
He's a likable guy.
But we'll wrap up this break. We'll get into some more baseball stuff right after this break. This is the Early Bird Special.
early bird special right here on ESPN Bakersfield.
A big shout out to our buddy Dan from Harris Barbecue. Swung by my office yesterday, dropped off some brisket for the office,
Nice.
and it was smashed and done in 5 minutes.
Wow.
So go out there, Harris Barbecue. That brisket is for real. Plus, they've got all sorts of other proteins. They got the chicken, they got the tri-tip, and I'm a big fan of the chili beans.
Absolutely. Chili's fantastic. Must be nice, man. Dang, I didn't get no brisket. Before we get back to baseball real quick, I just saw something that made me think, or made my head go, what? I don't know if you've heard this story, Sparky. It's in the world of football, but did you know LSU has 3 linebackers from the same family all playing together this year?
Are they Steiners?
No, they're the Weeks brothers. Weeks. Apparently, West Witt and Zach Weeks will all be playing for LSU this year.
Are they triplets?
No.
That would have been cool.
That would have been cool, actually. West is the eldest brother who is a senior linebacker who was a redshirt in 2024 and is joining the team this year. Witt Weeks is the middle brother who's a sophomore, and then their youngest brother, Zach, reclassified and is now going into LSU this year to play with them. I know sports are a family affair. I totally get it. We just talked about Cal Raleigh, actually, and his family and all that type of stuff, because Cal is the benefit of a father who is a former head coach for the University of Tennessee Vols baseball team. Probably could have been a head coach for any other team too after that if he wanted to, but he decided to go home and spend more time with the kids and help them with their dreams of being athletes, which absolutely turned around Cal and his 2 sisters' careers in sports, because both Cal, who became a D1 baseball prospect out of, from zero to hero too, because apparently he was shooed away by a lot of his baseball coaches back in the day for not being good enough to make the team. And his sisters, I believe, are both at least fairly successful volleyball players too at Division I. The younger brother is about to hit college and go to Division I. Personally, I think Dad needs a coaching job with Seattle. I think Seattle, if they're smart, after brother heads off to college and doesn't need Dad as a coach anymore, let's call him up and get him a contract so Cal can get some more development going. Because if it took Dad to freaking turn all these kids around, I want to know how good of a coach he can be. Could you imagine? He must be a hell of a hitting coach. But regardless, the fact that we have 3 linebackers for LSU, all probably going to play at the same time at some point in the season. LSU's throwing all of them on the field at the same time.
Oh, you know it.
That's going to be interesting. I don't think that's ever happened before.
Well, give me a reason to watch LSU football.
Right? Absolutely.
I love LSU. So.
Bobby Coker, you got something good on your hands, I'm telling you right now. But let's get into baseball a little bit, because, we got to talk about the commissioner on McAfee yesterday, because he dropped a lot. Where do we want to start, Sparky? Because a lot of this, is stuff we've already been talking about, but now essentially is being confirmed. I guess we could start with the ABS, the automatic balls and strikes system that's going to be tested, quote unquote, and used in the All-Star game tonight. This is essentially going to be put in 2026, whether fans like it or not. And he claims, Rob Manfred does on McAfee, that the first thing that they do, and you'll hear it in this bite, is they listen to their fans and they try to assess problems in that area. But some things they need to capitalize on. So let's hear from Mr. Manfred right now about where automatic balls and strikes is going, why he put it in, and the entertainment value that's also going to come from this.
Here's the thing, we put it out there in spring training. Obviously a lot of people go to spring training. Yeah. It's a really great time of the year for us. So this year, the emails about bad balls and strike calls have gone like this, up crazy, because they've now seen you can do it better. And the sort of theme of the emails is, what the hell are you waiting for? You got it. You ought to go.
And then there's this too, right? The reviews, challenges, which is not in regular season yet, right?
No. Yeah, right. We're gonna use it tonight. It's been used in the minor leagues for several years, and we tested it with big league guys in spring training last year. We're in a process directed at bringing it to the big leagues next year. The great thing about it that we didn't fully understand, the rendition on the board afterwards is like a fan friendly.
Yeah, like tennis. Yeah, the Hawkeye technology where it's coming in.
Yeah, you know, I mean, it's weird. I was actually out at the U.S. Open, and you know, I played a lot of competitive tennis up through college, and
oh, really? You checked the watch?
Yeah. I quit a long time ago, but I did play. Anyways, I'm out at the Open, and all of a sudden I realized there's no linesman. There's no linesman, but what had misled me is they're still showing the rendition up on the board, and you know, it made me realize there's entertainment value in that rendition that we need to take advantage.
So basically, he is learning from tennis that umpires don't necessarily need to be present to be part of the game. And we'll get to his second part of this conversation because he does stress that they do not want to remove the umpire from baseball. That is not the plan. So everybody's, you know, fear and, you know, gripes that, oh, they're taking the human touch out of baseball. That's not a thing. That's not the plan. They don't want to do that. But I kind of see his point. For those of you who watch tennis, I don't know how many of you are out there right now listening to my voice. Most of you don't care the line judges aren't there anymore. In fact, a lot of you actually like it better because that gets rid of the complaining part of tennis, which makes the game go by faster. And now that I'm thinking about it, that is kind of one of the cool things that tennis has been able to do for a long, long time. Same with football with the Hawkeye camera that you heard McAfee mention earlier.
And the NFL has been talking about moving the umps upstairs anyways.
Right.
So they go watch the game from the suite and have all the camera views they need.
Exactly. And they could see everything and they won't miss calls anymore. You'll get that, you know, probably a buzzer up top that says flag or something like that. I don't know. But when it comes to baseball, I think that he's onto something when it comes to the visual aspect of this, because I think one of the best things that tennis does, especially when it comes to ins and outs calls, is that like AI video you see on the screens where it shows the little shadow mark of where the ball was, whether it was in or it was out. Baseball has now figured it out where they can pinpoint that to, it used to be like 10 inches or something like that when they first developed this thing. It is now minuscule. It is so small that it's better than the human eye can detect. So they are so precise with this. Could you imagine being at a baseball game where batter doesn't agree with a strike call? He goes to the review. Everybody's looking at the screen waiting. And then you either get a massive pop because it happened to go their way or a massive boo because it didn't. It's going to make the game. I know everybody thinks that's so, you know, trivial and stupid, but that's going to make the game more entertaining. That's going to make the game more exciting and suspenseful. And humans, all of us, whether you claim to not want to do that or not, you're going to do it.
Yeah. I mean, we've all adapted. I mean, even last night, if you watch the home run derby, I mean, the camera views, they show where the pitch was. They show the highlight where the ball is going. I mean, it's all coming.
Some of those views, though, yesterday's
was awesome. I
mean, some of them are great, but some of them I'm still scratching my head. Like, why do we have the camera behind the pitcher?
Yeah,
I don't care. I don't care what
the one that almost got popped.
Is. Yeah, I'm like, I would rather the camera be like a drone camera that you can like, you know, zoom in closer to the batter, and then also let's stop following balls that don't go out. Like there were multiple instances where there were just floating balls and they would land in the grass.
Later in the home run derbies when they switched the camera views on the TV side where it was just showing the highlight.
Right.
And that's okay. Well, that makes more sense.
I think it makes sense. And I like that. And I like the way they've been able to track the home runs and stuff like that lately. But you're right. I mean, stuff is going to adapt. Stuff's coming regardless if you want it or not. I mean, and Manfred said that about the ABS system, which is, again, it's going to be incorporated by 2026 at the earliest. And it's coming.
I was thinking of just watching it for that tonight because I don't have any real dogs in the fight tonight. I mean, it's really since they've taken away the home field advantage out of the winter. I mean, I'll just watch here and there while I'm cooking or prepping, but I'm not glued on it like I would in the past. But one thing before we take a break, Manfred did mention that his idea is to still preserve the umpires.
I never call the automated strike zone system robot umpires because one of the things we really do want to preserve is the role of the umpire in the game. And, you know, the way the system is designed, he gets the call. He makes the call just like he does today in order to – that's his role. You know, that's what he's doing out there. Number one. Number two, technology off the charts good. I mean, we started 10 years ago. You know, it was 2 inches that it was the margin of error. Now it's like 100th of an inch. I mean, it's unbelievably good.
I mean, again, that is everybody's biggest gripe against this, right? Is the removal of the human the human umpire. Everyone thinks, oh, robotic umpires, and we'll never see an umpire back there again, and they'll be able to cheat because they can just mess with the umpire or the robotic umpire. I apologize. That's not a thing. Baseball is so traditional. I don't think they ever had that as a plan to begin with. I think everyone just kind of freaked out when you heard robotic umpire and you just assumed that the human umpire would be gone and removing that job from baseball in general. I don't think that's ever going to happen. They're probably just going to become more of just guideline guys. And then once you want to review something, much like every other sport, you can call out a referee and actually hold them accountable.
Just go to the umpire suite and we'll go back upstairs and we'll show them.
And you can actually see the guy looking at the video and saying, oh, I did mess that up. My bad.
Yep.
You're right. Like, it doesn't really matter. But that's why I'm saying I think you're going to see it in today's game. It's not going to slow the game down. It's not going to make the game any worse. I personally think ABS is going to make it better. And honestly, with the way technology has been going, technology in sports, it's hand in hand now. It really is. So you're going to have to get used to it. I'm sorry. There's not much else we can do about this. I mean, they even brought in torpedo bats yesterday.
Yep.
Didn't talk about it very much. And because, I mean, it didn't help Jazz at all. But it just, we have talked about how much the game is changing with obviously the torpedo bats and the way the balls change every year and the pitch clock and all this type of stuff. Change is necessary. And honestly, with all of this change, I think is gaining a lot of attention from people who don't usually watch baseball because they're hearing all these stories of how baseball is changing and it's not the traditional game that they grew up with. So maybe it ignites their
inner young
person
child
and says,
childhood.
I wonder if they fixed the problems that I've always had with the game.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go
have to
watch
adapt to it or you're going to get past.
Exactly.
But we'll get into something else he talked about with McAfee is something that we've kind of tinkered around for the last week is the salary cap coming to baseball, which I hope so. Let us know 661-842-2000. We are the Early Bird Special.
Good morning. Welcome back to the Early Bird Special. We wrap up this baseball talk.
Yeah, who do you guys got? AL, NL?
I always go with the NL.
I do like
obviously.
the jerseys.
NL. I don't.
I did like the jerseys.
Me and Randizzle from Hot 94.1 were talking about that while watching the Home Run Derby yesterday. I'm not crazy about
I like them. And it reminds me, JR used to have an Atlanta shirt that has that same lowercase a.
No, and I love that. I mean, you heard me talk about it yesterday. I usually traditionally like it when they give when they give the All-Star team a jersey based on the city and it's all, built that way. I like it that way. Personally, I just don't know why you went with blue and light blue.
Yeah. I don't care for the colors.
We couldn't get
like
a red and
the
blue
design. Yeah.
Like we couldn't
the
get
red,
a
white, and blue
red
type thing. Yeah.
Like what why do you got to go blue and baby blue? You know what I mean?
Like, and I did go with I got my Mariners cap ordered before the Home Run Derby.
Traditional Mariners cap, or did we go with a hat club like fancy one like I got Hart?
It's not the set Mariners. It's a white with the lowercase s.
Fancy. You'll be seeing that on the video stream here pretty soon. I gotta go get a new one. I usually like to splurge and get one or two a year.
Yeah, I'll get my Dolphins one once training camp starts, and they'll get more money out of me.
You know what's funny? My best friend he's a hat collector. Like this dude's got hundreds of them. So I'll go into his room and just like peek through them all. It's like, hey, I'm gonna borrow this one. Just walk away with it. He does not let me do that anymore. He's absolutely not. No.
I'm picky with my hats. I have to get I usually don't get the buckle ones. This one was a gift and it kind of fits my dome, but
snapbacks are interesting.
I can't stand the fit ones. I have to get the full
fit ones.
Not the ones that are already bent. Like I don't like those. But I like the new era caps usually. But yeah.
Well, I mean, we will see. Obviously,
caps are so expensive, dude.
Yeah, they are. What are they now? $60
at least. Yeah. And luckily during the All-Star game at Fanatics, they had a discount that you can get like 30-40%, but they pump it up 20% before you can get it.
Right.
But it was like $40 with the discount.
Dude, I mean, well, it's merchandise in general. I mean, again, we're gonna sit here and blame inflation and all that. But to be fair, I throw this out there as well. When it comes to merchandise and when it comes to video games specifically, okay, because I have a lot of friends who complain about both and the prices of both. So I know I like to compare the two. When you get companies that put in a lot of effort and money into the product itself, it's worth the money you're going to spend. Of course. So people like New Era, the hat clubs and all that type of stuff.
I spend more of my money with the shoes.
Yeah,
I'm a shoe guy.
Definitely your Jordans and stuff
like that. My custom Cortezes or my custom shell toes.
The money you're spending traditionally is what you would probably need to spend to get something of that value.
And I've been with MoneyWise for, I believe I just passed 13 years with MoneyWise.
Yeah.
And everyone just blows my phone up like I'm the one raising the prices. I'm like, dude, it's not my fault.
Like,
or be smart, be safe, be MoneyWise. Like, don't buy that crap.
Right.
It's I'm the one doing the opposite. So
I love that. And when you're the money advisor and they buy stuff and they blame you as if you're the one that went out and used their money to buy the stuff for them.
It's like, don't do it.
Yeah, don't use your money. How about you just put the credit card down?
Exactly.
Let's not use the checkbook.
My buddy Garrow taught me something when I was 18 years old. He said, put $40 back every check and just put it away. You can put it under your mattress, whatever you have to do.
I need to start doing that.
Whatever's easiest, just $40.
Yeah.
You'll blow that on a Dolphin shirt. Just put $40 back, and you'd be surprised around Christmas time.
How much money you got?
You got an emergency fund right there.
No, you know what's funny is I love that he says that because I used to do that too. But the way I look at it, it's not even $40. It's $2 adult dollars. Because let's be honest, dog, $20 is an adult dollar. That is one adult dollar. It is $20. So if you put away $2 adult dollars every paycheck, 100%, dude, that's $80 a month.
And we'll skip this last break because we went long, and we got to get into this baseball stuff before KG comes over and starts yelling. So
let's get into this money situation. Obviously, Rob Manfred yesterday, the biggest talking point of the day was salary caps. Is salary caps coming? I mean, again, we talked about it last week. The probability of it's growing, and it's growing quickly. And honestly, let's hear from the man himself because he gave a brilliant answer on McAfee yesterday.
We begin on every issue by listening to our fans. I think it is undeniable. If you're denying it, you're not being honest, that we have fans in markets who believe they don't have a fair opportunity
To win.
compete. You can blame the owner or whatever. It's the system. It is the system that produces that. And at the end of the day, what we sell is competition. And so anything that undermines competition, which I believe the issue you're raising does, sooner or later, we're going to have to come to grips with that issue. 100%.
So it basically, this was politics. I know a lot of people went to, media and said, oh, he dropped that, he leaked that, he wasn't supposed to talk about that, blah, blah, blah. He wasn't supposed to talk about a lot of this on McAfee. He knew what he was talking about. Rob Manfred did not go on Pat McAfee and talk about all this and allow the boys to ask him all these questions.
Oh, yeah. There's guidelines before the interview starts.
Trust me. He knew what he was saying. And that was brilliant politics.
And I back it 150%.
You and about 60% of the rest of the world, or the rest of America, because for those of you who are in the 40%, the big
Dodgers
market
and
teams,
Yankee fans.
I wouldn't even just say Dodgers and Yankees. I'd say anybody that's a big market. Big ones, yes. Dodgers, Yankees. I'll even put the Phils in there. The Mets, like teams that are big market teams that have no issue buying players. You're going to have a problem with this because obviously the advantage that your team has, the people who have been texting us for weeks saying, have your owner just pay for the guy.
Leave it alone.
Your owner could just pay for the guy. Look, man. This is going to stop that, obviously. But at the same time, he brought up a really good point by playing politics and all of this. You're going to bring back competition.
Yep.
You're going to bring back teams actually having to compete for a championship.
And don't worry, your team will still spend a ton of money.
Right.
They'll find a way.
But you'll just have a certain amount of money that you have to spend.
And people will get, owners aren't stupid.
No.
They've been financially successful for a reason.
Well, and let's switch it over on to the owners as well. This would force owners to use that money. You can't be the A's, have a cap. Let's say the MLB sets the cap salary at, what would you think, Spark? Let's just say a tentative $600 million.
Okay.
Now, it's probably going to be nowhere near that number, but let's say that's the cap salary. You would force teams, because they're not going to allow teams like the A's or these small market teams that traditionally don't pay to sit there with $400 million in cap salary. You're going to have to use that money, dude. Spend money to make money. And that's going to swiftly kick the butt of every owner that is either lazy and doesn't want to spend the money, or two, if they don't spend the money, the league can finally figure out a way
to penalize them.
Get them out of there.
Yep.
They don't own the team anymore because you're not willing to do what is beneficial for the league.
And I think it'll be really beneficial for the league, not only for the owners, because all teams, progressing and building a championship type team, or at least a competitive team, it'll make the games better. It'll make the season better, the viewership, the sponsorships. They could raise the price on sponsorships. They can do all this and that.
Every team
it'll
will
benefit the whole league,
Yep.
not only the players and the viewers.
Every team will actually have a star player on their team for a long period of time.
And don't trip, because the Yankees and the big name teams, they're still going to be a team that players want to play for.
Yeah.
They've got a long history. They've got a dedicated fan base, and everyone wants to play at Dodger Stadium or Yankee Stadium. It's just a fact.
Honestly, and I think that you're still going to have situations where these teams can buy into the salary cap or something, or buy into the salary tax or whatever.
It's like the NFL does, or they back
just
put
not
the
to
Bonilla players,
not to an extreme, but I mean, at some point,
they'll find a way.
My main thing when it comes down to all of this is, are you going to factor in the minors as well? Because the minor leagues, from what I have read and seen in interviews and talked to people who've been in the minors and all that, it is night and day. Minor leagues, you have to pay for your own hotels. You have to pay for your own fare most of the time, unless your team has a bus. Like it's a completely different situation. Once you get to the majors, then they start paying for everything for you. But when you're in the
we're
minor
seeing that in the
leagues,
NFL right now with college football.
right?
I mean, I heard Johnny Manziel doing interviews. I don't know why they booked him for an interview, but
Because
they
he's
got
Johnny Manziel, and I mean,
Johnny
at this
Manziel.
point, you might as well
But he
make
came
the
out
money off of him.
and said if the NIL was there when he was playing, he would have played a couple more years in college.
Oh, 100%.
And he would have made
would've.
more money than he did in the NFL.
Well, okay, but Johnny's
But that's
not
because
a
it's
good.
a short-term career. But I'm just saying,
True.
it changes the mindset of these players before they jump into the professionals. And maybe that's something that, I'm sure Manfred's already aware of, what kind of plan they'd have to put together for the minors.
Well, Johnny, though, isn't a very good person to be talking.
It was
because
just the
that
first one I
man-
heard.
No, I'm not saying for you. I mean, Johnny needs to shut his mouth because Johnny was the first NIL deal boy.
Of course.
Let's be honest.
And
You
he's
were
still
making
getting
money
paid.
when everybody else was sitting there not getting paid at all. And I'm pretty sure you didn't flip the bill down to Mike Evans.
Oh, they were laughing because he had to pay for the interview. They paid him to do
Shut
the interview. So
up.
he's on that press pass now where he's hitting these interviews, but has a little price tag to get interviewed.
I'm not paying to
He's
sit
making
down
nickel
with
and
Johnny
diamond-
football.
Nickel and diamond people.
Look, man, I loved watching Johnny Manziel in college. And I was one of the only people, and my brother-in-law will attest to this, that actually wanted to see him be successful in the NFL. I really did. I thought if we could make this and change it or take it to the NFL, it'd at least be entertaining to watch. It obviously didn't work out that way because he, is Johnny Manziel.
I was the same thing with Tebow.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
I wasn't a big Tebow fan,
Oh, I was
but
a
I wanted to
huge
see
Tebow
him.
guy.
I wanted to see him be successful in the NFL.
I'm still a Tebow guy even to this day. If Tim Tebow ever made an NFL comeback, I would be fully supportive, even though it probably wouldn't be a quarterback. But
No,
it's one of those situations, though, where it's like, I don't think, Johnny, you need to be talking because you were making thousands upon millions of dollars off of your likeness and your, autographs and stuff behind people's backs. And there's a whole documentary about it. So you can't hide from
it's
that
a good one
anymore.
too. And
Yeah, it
speaking
is.
of money, the Rays are ready for a new ownership.
$1.7 billion. And for a small market team, that's pretty good. But I think it's because, and this is just me, but the Rays have been one of those small market teams in the MLB that have proven that your market size does not determine your success.
Yeah, your athletes.
Your athletes, who you draft, how you develop them. I think that the Rays have really done it right. If I can really sit there and think of a small market team in the MLB that is just, when you're like developing players and really making it work, it has been the Tampa Bay Rays.
Well, the number one thing for these new ownerships or the new owners, one is, are they actually going to address the stadium saga that's been going on for years?
That's the plan, from what I understand.
And hopefully boost the attendance.
Yes.
And hopefully if the salary cap is ready by then, they can actually lock in some of these guys and keep them.
Now, I think that the Tampa Bay Rays will have no problem doing that last part because they really do. In developing their players, they really create a sense of camaraderie and just a group that is just, they really love playing in Tampa Bay and they love playing together. It's very rare when you hear a guy say, I demand out of Tampa Bay. But I have to agree with you, though. I think with new management coming in, I know the management group is based out of Florida and they plan to keep the team in Tampa Bay if they possibly can. Although the previous ownership wanted to move them, I believe, to St. Petersburg.
Yep, it's still in there.
Is it really? So, okay. So whether they can fix the roof off of the stadium, which was destroyed during a lot of storms and stuff over the past year, I think they just need to demolish it and make a whole new one.
100%. Yep.
I think that you need to go the route of the A's, demolish it, keep it in Tampa Bay somewhere, maybe even right on the same spot if you want to, but just do something where you can rebuild this stadium in a way that, one, can fill the capacity a little bit better because your fan base demands that. I mean, you've grown so much in the last couple of years, especially with the last couple World Series appearances that they have made. And two, I think that it's just at this point, new ownership, you want to get off on the right foot. The fan base has been yearning for this, and obviously they hate where they're playing right now because they have to go play at a spring training a stadium, essentially, because they're waiting on their stadium to get fixed. It'd be a great first step and a great sense of like, hey, we're here for Florida, we're here for Tampa Bay. If you just start with that. You know what I mean? Start with the stadium, rebuild it, or just figure out a way to make it a little bit bigger if you can, or make it look nicer. And I think the Tampa Bay fans will embrace you. And I know the deal isn't going to be fully done until September. God forbid anything happens between now and then that's going to change this. That has happened in the last couple of years. So we know that it could, potentially turn around. We just saw the Minnesota Timberwolves have something similar happen where the sale kind of got uprooted at the very last second due to some questionable antics, quote unquote, from some of the sellers and buyers. So hopefully that does not happen. But I think Tampa Bay, $1.7 billion, that's a good price tag for a small market team that has been growing exponentially the last decade and a half. And when you see teams like the Lakers and the Celtics and everybody selling in these big money markets and stuff like that, being anywhere in the billion category is pretty good, especially when the previous owner bought you in 2004 for what, $200 million?
That's a nice return.
That's a damn good return right there.
Well,
1.5.
a couple texts that we got regarding baseball before we wrap up the hour. One said, I was being very serious. When can we see the AI of past homers like Griffey or maybe Ohtani and Judge, since they won't play the home run derby? Maybe they play against some AI of robots that are playing as players.
I mean, you could do
You
that.
could probably do that on video game.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Is like, go play the show. That's the best you're going to get out of that if you want that. I mean, go buy a PS5 and go play MLB The Show, because that's exactly what you want. The rest of us want to live in reality and actually see it happen.
Sometimes.
I mean, I'm all for getting Shohei and Judge back in the home run derby. But, that's the point I wanted to make with Jeff Passett. I'm sorry, I almost glossed over that. Jeff made a very interesting point that it's All-Star Weekend and it's a show and that you should put your best foot forward. So if this is a show, like Jeff says, should that not mean that you force the best home run hitters to be in the home run derby? Should that not mean that you force the best players who you want in the All-Star game to play in the All-Star game? Unless they're injured, obviously. But I feel like that statement alone warrants the MLB saying maybe we should force, I hate that word, but strong arm, I guess is the better way to put it, these slugging home run hitters and Aaron Judge, Shohei Ohtani, Kyle Schwarber, et cetera, to fill these spots that we desperately need them to fill, so we don't have instances like Jazz Chisholm hitting 3 home runs in the home run derby or Byron Buxton only getting single digits in the second round, which was very disappointing. I was so happy to see Byron actually doing well, especially with the injury-riddled career that he has had. But we got to take a break real quick. On the other side, it's time for our Raw recap with our guy 24KG, as he is live from his home down in the east side of Bakersfield. You are listening to the Early Bird Special right here on 101.1 FM, 1230 AM, ESPN Bakersfield. Welcome back. This is the early bird special. The OTC has returned. And no, I don't mean 24 kg, although I do love them. We were talking about it last week. And Raw had one of the most anticipated returns yesterday as Roman Reigns came back to the ring. And our guy 24 kg is here to talk about it, amongst other things, because we had Evolution and All In, although he probably didn't watch it, and I did. And man, I'm telling you right now, my brother.
Oh, no, I watched it.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah.
Shut up.
Welcome, everybody. No, I will not, but check this out. We've got a lot of wrestling to talk about in a short amount of time. We're going to try to cram all the important stuff in there and talk about the high points, skip over some of the lows. It was too much wrestling to watch this weekend for those all-around wrestling fans. Like, literally, folks. So, first and foremost, let's start off with Saturday night's main event. How did you guys feel about that?
Lackluster, to be honest with you. Although I'm happy that I wasn't alone, because I got grilled yesterday by our listeners and by Sparky, and I'm sure I will by you right now. But at least Bully Ray and Dave LaGreca agree with me, have busted open. I liked Goldberg.
It was Goldberg's best match, and that's sad.
But it's true.
I'll agree with you, but only on the circumstance that I'll say that we had extra time because Seth Rollins got injured, which we'll talk about later. But honestly, it was Goldberg's best match. That was how he should have went out back in the day, but we got to see it now. So I can't complain. He might, because they cut his retirement speech short. But hey, they were pressed for time. NBC don't play that. The rest of it is on YouTube if you want to watch it.
Okay, yeah. See, I'm glad you brought up the NBC thing, because that's what we were talking about yesterday, is that it got cut off, and I felt so bad because I was like, Goldberg's got to be pissed because they cut it off right at a very
can you blame him?
Point. Like
Bret Hart wasn't complaining.
No, it was not. But Bret was complaining that the match was happening in the first place. I mean, at least it didn't happen in Canada.
I thought it was trash. And I think his career was trash. So,
well, I mean,
you're
Sparky standing on business.
It was the best Goldberg match of very limited good matches.
Absolutely. Don't get me wrong. I'm not sitting here saying that Goldberg
like the best of the worst.
A lot of his matches were short amount of times. 90 seconds,
100%.
3 minutes. You pile up 176 of those, and then you have to really get in the ring with somebody who has a tank and some cardio. It'll kind of expose him, but we're not going to go into that too much more.
Give props to Gunther.
Yes,
absolutely.
He carried that. He made him look like the Goldberg of Oldberg.
Yes, he did.
You know what I mean? So
he took a couple of the shots, and it made it look like they were legitimately fighting for a second. And I mean, and also, but besides giving gold to Gunther as we were, and give him his flowers, I said it yesterday, but I have to get your thoughts on this since we riffed on it. Can we get some love for the greatest referee in WWE history? Because Charles Robinson,
hands down,
some of the world's hardest hits I've ever seen. Taking the spear from Goldberg, the shoulder check from John Cena just a couple of weeks ago. I mean, he's a constant meme. But what do you think of the referee on that one?
Lil Nate needs to be inducted into the Hall of Fame.
Oh, he will be.
I don't know if there are any other referees with an induction or a ring, but he definitely deserves that. Now, we all know what happened with Gunther and Goldberg, but let's work our way backwards. We had an issue with Seth Rollins. Some people think it's a work. Some people say it's legit. WWE is being very quiet on revealing any information that may sound like it's an actual legit injury, whether it's a minor injury or the theory that this might be the biggest work of works ever. Now, you got to think about this. In theory, you have Triple H at the head of creative. He was instrumental in the Canadian screw job, you know what I mean, the Montreal screw job, where he quoted, as quoted by Jim Cornette and other people, that if Bret doesn't want to do business, we'll make him do business. So he's real good at blurring those lines on whether this is storyline or real. The injury looks legit, but these are performers. And if Seth knows how to, if this is a work, I pray it is, because I don't want to see him. I don't want to see him hurt. Seth is the workhorse of WWE, and I love watching him on TV every week. So I hope he's not legitimately hurt. But I said that also about KO, and he was legitimately hurt. So if he is, pivot on those storylines. And fellas, what do you think about this injury?
I think it's real.
I think it's a work, and I was on the fence until last night when I saw Raw and how they spun it with Paul Heyman and him announcing, okay, well, he's got until June of next year to cash in. I'm like, all right, well, they're gonna, whether it's a real injury, maybe it is not as serious as we were expecting. So
maybe it's just a hyperextension.
And I think they went on both sides because, inserting that main event last night with the gauntlet match kind of set him up. If, he could come back, it could be a work. And if it's not, then we got Braun right here to fall back on.
There we go.
Agree with that. And I think you set that up a little bit yesterday when Braun came out to go face to face with Gunther, who, again, Braun Breaker is one of the very few people on this roster that has actually beaten Gunther in a wrestling ring before. It may have been an NXT, but it still counts.
It counts.
And although I do think the injury is real, just because I've seen many, many, many athletes have similar injuries happen that way. But there are two instances that make me feel like this is a work. One, if it was real, why did he take the BFT at the end?
Let me interject. Hold that thought. Let me interject. If it was real and he told him to just exit out and audible the finish, hey, hell of a heart on him.
Absolutely. But
I mean, seriously, that goes back to like wrestling with a torn quad and finishing the match. That's up there.
But that's what I'm saying. How often do you usually see that, especially if it's a serious injury like a potential ACL or a ligament tear? You don't see that. They end it right there, say, I'm sorry, match is over. LA Knight wins. We got to move on
to X. You know what I mean? It's that's what had me very, kudos to you for spotting that, man.
I don't know if you have him take the BFT at the end of that and he has to take a blunt force trauma and then get pinned and then leave.
That
doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
However, the other thing that got me was, much like Sparky mentioned, in the show last night in Birmingham, Alabama, you get Paul Heyman mentioning he has until next June to successfully cash in. Although there's something about this, like I told Sparky at the end of the show, what's the easiest injury to fake?
Knee injury.
Your knee.
Come on now.
It's your knee.
Every time on wrestling, somebody has a knee injury. What do? They come back from it and go, gotcha.
This genuinely could be one giant work where we see Seth Rollins with the biggest surprise cash in of all time. Imagine he comes out with a crutch at SummerSlam and then he just drops the crutch and runs to the ring.
It'll be easier to sell.
It writes itself, you guys.
Exactly. And it's easier to sell because of his past injuries too.
Right.
Indeed. So we can agree that hopefully this is a work, but if it's not, we wish him a speedy recovery. Let's move on and speed up. We have Solo Sikoa defeat Jimmy Uso to retain the United States title. We already know where that's going with the MFTs, but Bloodline 3.7. We can move on. Now, we set up a match at SummerSlam with Jelly Roll, Randy Orton, Logan Paul, and Drew McIntyre. After this match, we seen Jelly Roll take one hell of a Claymore.
Yes.
I'll give it to the man. He sold the hell out of it, man. So, some people are upset with celebrities coming in taking places from superstars at these PLE events, but overall it works for me. I really don't care that much to see it. At SummerSlam, it's the first two-nighter. They need to stack the card. Overall, though, I would give Saturday night's main event a 4.
That's what I'd say too. I'd say 5-ish, but
out of 10, I'd give it a 4, man.
Goldberg, a 4 out of 5. No. I think it's weird for me to say, but I think the Goldberg match saved it.
Oh my
God. A little bit there, because that injury had everybody scratching their head.
The Goldberg match, the no sells of the chop, we got that early in the PLE too with Randy and Drew, and I knew once I saw that early, I was like, oh, we're going to get that from Goldberg. That's happening.
Let's go ahead and talk about maybe the PLE of the weekend that stood out and over-delivered in an environment where it was assumed it would underperform, and that's Evolution, folks.
Was awesome.
We had some considerable matches, plural, for match of the year. When I say the women showed up and showed out, that is an understatement.
Can I stop you real quick?
Go right ahead, but I got to say this. Deeply regarding the situation, how it was set up, I'm very surprised that it did so well, but I'm kind of not. Because look at how that card was stacked.
Not even just that, but this is I'm glad you said that, because that goes into my point. Do you think that the women came in pissed off because of the ticket sales? Do you think these women came in thinking, you know what? These people don't want to buy a ticket to Evolution 2.0. They're going to regret it. We're going to have the greatest PLE we could possibly make. And to be honest with you, I think outside of Tiffy and Trish, I think that one was kind of lackluster because I was expecting a little bit more from both of them, and it just kind of faded away in the background of a lot of these other matches. Outside of that, every single one was a banger. Every single match.
Well, that
I agree with you.
match would have been the best match if it was on Saturday Night Main Event.
I agree with you.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, to pull an old quotable, hell have no fury like a woman scorned. And I would feel scorned to see how the internet was reacting to Evolution.
That's what I'm saying.
Not being as promoted or prompt or a priority as everything else around it, especially with AEW in Texas and everything that was going on that weekend. So let's run through some of these matches. Now, first and foremost, we've seen Becky Lynch, Lyra Valkyria, Bayley, this whole thing develop into what it is. And honestly, let's just get back to the basics of this. This whole feud, this whole storyline is designed to get Lyra over because it wasn't working before. And honestly, over time, it's grown on me to see the kind of wrestler and person that she's developed into on screen, because before I wasn't having it. I'm tired of seeing it. It's repetitive, but honestly, it was a good match. So I'm just going to say,
I think it was a better match last night.
Yeah, because they're getting more familiar with each other, and they've eliminated a lot of house shows, so they don't have a lot of time to work a crowd and try new things and develop feuds like how they did. And honestly, with Becky retaining, I'm not surprised, but this is what we needed to make that women's intercontinental title mean something. Of course, it was supposed to, build up a new superstar, but how can we build up somebody without any prestige invested into the title when it comes off of somebody? So, I gave that at least a decent 7 out of 10 right there with that match. Then we had JC Jane, the NXT Women's Champion, going head up against Jordan Grace, which she retained. And we all seen this turn coming from Mariah May, now
Blake
known
Monroe.
as, Blake Monroe on WWE's NXT. And it's kind of a Mean Girls Club thing. I get it, but she's meaner than the Mean Girls Club. So we'll see that develop.
I hope Blake comes in, steals that belt from JC, and then kicks her out of the group.
My boy,
I think that
right
would
here.
That would be a really interesting turn for the Fatal Influence group. Who, I mean, let's be honest. There's been fighting between JC and Fallon Henley.
Yeah, it's there. It's there.
Kind of just there.
It's there.
And it's very like high school vibe group. So it would make a lot of sense for them as a group to have a falling out like that.
Definitely. Now we had Judgment Day defeating Charlotte Flair, Alexa Bliss, Sol Ruka, Zarya, the Kabuki Warriors to retain the women's tag team champion. Guys, does this officially make Raquel Perez,
Roxanne?
Yes, Roxanne, an official Judgment Day member now?
Yes.
Does this?
Especially after seeing them
They beat the hell out of her last night.
Yeah.
Hey, she got to get that lick back.
That was a great match.
They putting on. I feel like Evolution carried on into Monday Night Raw just a little bit on that first hour because the women were still in go mode from the pay-per-view the night before. We had Tiffany Stratton defeat Trish Stratus. We're not surprised there. It's always Tiffy time over here, so they could run that. Get to the back of the line. We respect you, Trish. We love you. I mean, seriously, I'm one of the best products that ever came out of Canada. It's Trish Stratton right there. Anybody disagree with me? All right.
No,
cool.
That's true.
We're going to move on with that one. Jade Cargill really got her legs in the ring this time, man. Hey, she's been earning that respect because, boy, we was kind of tough on Jade. And
I love
she
Jade. I love Jade.
Do not put us in that No.
Look,
we
love
Jade.
I say we because I got a frog in my pocket, so I got
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Fuck that, because really these last 3 matches she's been on television with us outside of WWE, coming back from her time off. The growth in this match, you see where it all paid off at. Smooth, but it looked brutal. risk-taking, but still safe with her opponent.
The top rope jaded was nuts.
I can't complain. That match, I mean, golly, man, if we had a bleep button, hit that for about 3-4 seconds right there. You know what I'm saying? But Jade Cargill, my hat goes off to you. My respect goes to you. I love what I'm seeing. Keep it up. Shout out to all the muscle mommies out there kicking somebody's head off. I mean, Naomi took it and gave it literally in the ring and outside of the ring. Those chair shots, the kendo stick, the table crashes, everything. They held nothing back in that match. It was very intense. And that's what I like to see, baby, from anybody that's on TV with a PLE on the line. And it really threw me off for what happened later on in the night because I was expecting a cash in on Tiffany. No doubt about it. But
it was an easy transition out because she could be on Raw.
Absolutely.
And they set that up last night perfectly.
Who has been in desperate need of some heel face or some heel women's roster.
And she's
members.
perfect for it, man.
She really
Very
is.
much.
She's so good on that mic, and she killed it. And having all three of them in the ring last night was just electric.
You know, I was thinking about this too because I have been a notorious Naomi. I don't want to say hater, but I've not been crazy about this whole proceed with caution run that she's been on. But the more I'm seeing it, the more I'm like realizing this is just Naomi from TNA.
This is gold. You
is
feel me?
Naomi from TNA. Like this is the Naomi that I've actually missed because when they brought her back to WWE, they immediately went back to the glow.
Yeah, it was very calm.
Very poppy. Like, she's
got
back.
that attitude
she's
perfect.
Great. Yeah,
I love what she's doing on Twitter and X right now. Did you see the remark to the negative backlash? She said all I needed to do was it took one call from The Rock, and with the ha ha ha, I was very happy to see her get this because me and Sparky discussed it over the weekend. She spoke about getting another title shot, going on a reign, and then taking some time off to have a family and whatnot. Right. And this is a great way for her to come up and go out. She's been there for so long, doing a great job. It gets overlooked when someone's a constant professional. So flowers to her. This is a great evolution in her character and a step towards, we already know she's a legit Hall of Famer in the future. So let's get to, I'd have to say one of the wrestlers of the year. Real quick, we got to speed it up, man. Stephanie Vicure won the 20-woman battle royal. Was there any surprise there with that, fellas?
No, nope. I mean, I think that was everybody made their own predictions, but we all had the same thought process in mind. It was going to be Stephanie.
Very much so.
So who does she take on, though, is the main question, because although she won this battle royal, you would assume she would get a shot at one of the main card titles, but it seems like Raw is setting her up for a shot at maybe a mid-carder, maybe that U.S. championship against Julia, or the Intercontinental one after this whole Lyra Becky Lynch thing is done.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised. Either or would work good for the brand. She's pretty much revitalized the women's division in that aspect and really put a face to it. And I think really, internationally, she has an appeal. So everybody's going to flock to her on that.
I think they'll take her slow, and I think we'll probably see the Julia and Vicure match, and
because everybody's been itching to see that on the main roster.
Definitely.
And she's just going to continue to grow because we all want to see her in Rhea sooner or later.
It's going to happen. Now, wrapping this PLE up, we had Io Sky versus Rhea Ripley. It was a brutal match. It was going everywhere. I mean, probably a match of the year candidate, hands down, most definitely. And Naomi comes in, cashes in, surprises everyone. The crowd pops, the roof goes off the building. It was a great end to the show. Really stood out as a PLE that I think people weren't expecting to stand out. So I give that literally a 9 out of 10, guys. You know what I mean?
When it comes to the Money in the Bank, I've always been curious because I know a lot of the cash-ins are story-based driven or something of that nature. But ones like this, where it really could have been anybody, it really could have been any situation, it makes me wonder, or at least it scratched my head while watching it, of maybe Naomi was just chilling in Gorilla. No one knew she was actually going to do it. And then she just looked at Paul and said, I got to get in on this. Let's go. And just ran out.
I would hope so. Now, to do a quick rundown of Monday Night Raw, we got a setup for the championship at SummerSlam with that women's title between Rhea, Io, and Naomi, which I think is definitely going to be a banger. First match of the night, we had the non-title match with the Kabuki Warriors and Judgment Day. Judgment Day went over. Winners by pinfall. You know, can we expect anything different? I love the segment with Dominic Mysterio, AJ Styles, praying to God so he could kick his in, and him telling God, don't let him do that. Greatest comedy on the show of the night. Nikki Bella and Chelsea Green, for what reason, I don't know.
Well, it's
Whatever
because of
happened.
what built up during the 20-woman battle royale. Obviously, you weren't paying attention.
Now, see that right there, bump that.
I just don't. I'm not interested in the Nikki Bella stories.
I'm not either, but I think they're just trying to keep her around for
something.
now.
I get it. Her plans with Liv fell apart, and they had to pivot. They had to improvise. I get it.
Well,
but then we go into the gauntlet match. Fellas, what did you feel? Not what you think. What did you feel about watching that? Because it took me back to my childhood, even watching the old WCW matches, you know, with the Best of 7 series and other matches where they had to run through a gauntlet. And Braun Breaker, I mean, breakout star of not just Monday Night Raw, maybe this year amongst other people that have shown up and shown out.
Hold on, though. Time out. Because as much as I love Braun Breaker, and Sparky can attest to this, I talk about it damn near anytime the man comes on. We can't keep saying he's the breakout star. This has been a thing for over a year. This isn't a breakout.
Facts. He's been doing it since
well
NXT.
Solidified himself. To call him a breakout at this point is actually insulting.
He's breaking out, not just on the roster. He's breaking out of that group, which seems to be falling apart if this is not a work. Maybe people in the back thought this group ain't working how we want it to work. Braun Breaker has always been not just the dark horse. He's been the upfront guy. In case things don't work, you can always bet on Braun to break you out of a bad situation and give you a good match, baby.
I still think the whole setup is still for him and Paul to go their own ways together.
Yes, we've seen this since NXT. We've seen this since NXT.
I was kind of hoping too that they were going to somehow steal that contract away from Seth. Like Paul,
it can still happen.
Oh, that's mine. Like I'm the one holding it, so technically, whoever I want to use it is going to use it. So,
I think this could also set up when Seth gets back. Let's just say none of that stuff happens. I've been here doing all the work, fighting all the fights. Where have you been? Nursing your little knee. He has a little animosity to him. He's kind of taking the charge with Paul and leading the direction of the group. Will they add another person? We'll see.
They should re-sign Braun Strowman and make this team the Bronze.
The Bronze.
That's all you need to name them, the Bronze.
Sparky shaking his head like, I hate you guys. Now, he went through Penta. It was a great first quarter of the gauntlet match. LA Knight, Jey Uso, who yeeted in the middle of a match. Now, all right, I love Jay. Shout out to Jay. It's my boy. Y'all can handle that if y'all got something to say about that.
I'm
used to it now.
I was like, hey, if that's what we own, yeet in the middle of a match, okay? Which, came back to bite him in the butt.
Fans want to yeet, dude. That's all it's about now.
Bronson Reed, and then eventually we got CM Punk in there, and things were looking bad. CM Punk was catching a beat down. Jay came back, turned the tide, and then we have CM Punk defeating Braun Breaker, now going on to face Gunther at SummerSlam. But let's talk about what happened after that, gentlemen.
Well, we have to give the shout out because we had a listener before Saturday Night's Main Event last Friday set it up and said it's going to be Gunther and CM Punk.
Oh, yeah.
And honestly, now that I'm thinking about this, and I'm still standing on, I think Seth's injury is real. But long-term storytelling, Punk beats Gunther to win the title. Roman obviously is coming for that title because that's the only one that he hasn't owned, and he's going to want his stamp on it at some point. So you get Punk and Roman at some point, maybe at War Games, and that's when we get the cash in. That's when we get Seth.
I hope that is the route because I saw the Roman and Uso shaking hands at the match, and then immediately think, dude, I hope they don't team them up with Jimmy.
No, I'm happy he didn't go pick him up.
And Jacob, because I was like, if they put these four back together and then they hold the whole solo and all that, I was like, Keep them away
Well-
from Raw and SmackDown, please.
Well, again, now with Seth's injury, though, they're going to have to pivot into whatever plan they had for War
Backup
Games, because
plan.
I still stand by my statement that the original plan was Team Punk versus Team Seth.
Now, you got to think of this, too, storyline-wise. There's still some animosity between Roman Reigns and CM Punk. CM Punk stole Roman Reigns' wise man, so to speak, which kind of caused a divvy and led to the road of where they were both betrayed. Now, also, if you think about this, if CM Punk goes on to beat Gunther, right there at that moment, we have a rehash of what happened to Drew McIntyre. There's a cash in. It's CM Punk. It's Seth Rollins. He ends up taking the title right off of CM Punk, and then he has to chase again because you held the title for 3 minutes. I got you, blah, blah, blah. Hopefully, if his injury is not legit. And gentlemen, skipping NXT's Great American Bash, that was all the wrestling we could fit into this segment today.
Hold on.
Woo!
You dropped a bomb on me at the beginning of this, and we still have 3 minutes, so I get a time to task.
Let's go.
Notorious AEW hater. I said yesterday they cooked.
Yes, they did.
They absolutely
did.
cooked.
Hey, and they broke the record for the longest wrestling pay-per-view in history.
Yes, they did.
4 hours and 20-something, maybe 30-something minutes.
Which I did not mention yesterday, but
the
Adam
match
Page
quality
taking the
card was great.
Quick rundown here with 2 minutes I got left. John Moxley losing to Adam Page. Adam Page taking the bump off of the steel, off the nails in the bed of nails. What did you think at that point?
Honestly, bro, that was one of the best death matches I've ever seen.
Right.
And
I kind of get now why they've been building Hangman with all these death matches. I kind of understand.
I literally had to say that was great great storytelling, great writing, and a great performance all the way around. One of the best matches I've seen out of AEW, not just AEW, in wrestling, period. And I'll give them that. And the Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland tag match was crazy.
Was just going to go to that. Will Ospreay, we're talking about Seth Rollins' injury. Will Ospreay was taken off on a stretcher.
Yeah.
So hopefully his injury is not as serious as it pertains to be. But Swerve coming in and helping Hangman was beautiful. Darby Allin coming back and helping Hangman was beautiful. Real quick, we got to go down the line.
Daniel Bryan coming in.
Daniel Bryan with the mask was hilarious.
This was like the equivalent of WrestleMania run-ins. It was great.
It really was. This one, and that's what I was kind of making the point yesterday, is that this is their version of SummerSlam. So they needed to go all out, especially with WWE having 3 pay-per-views on their weekend. Then the last 2 things I have to get off of my chest when it comes to this. MJF stealing the Battle Royale was fantastic.
Because, hey, can you expect anything less from the best, man? MJF,
biggest dirtbag in wrestling, but he's still the best thing on that.
He's our dirtbag.
He's our dirtbag, but he is the biggest dirtbag in wrestling, and that was fantastic to see MVP celebrate him after that win. I thought her business was going to be mad about it. I thought they were like, really? You didn't hurt anybody. You just went and stole something.
Quick question. Could you see MVP with MJF as his Paul Heyman in the future?
Yeah.
Leading past hurt
100%.
business.
Oh, absolutely. Especially if he wanted to come back for a quick stint in the WWE. He could definitely be the mouthpiece for MJF if you needed one. Because Maxwell is the best guy on the mic possible.
Yeah.
Then the other 2 matches that we have to talk about, Mercedes Moné against Toni Storm.
Fire.
Absolute greatness in the ring, as it has been for the women's division over there. And you got a Harley Cameron return.
Well, also, before we get into that, I like the entrance Mercedes Moné had where she had all the cheerleaders wearing her belts.
Yes.
All those belts are hers that she's collected through different companies and divisions. That was a great entrance. But timeless Toni Storm, man. I mean, literally, can this woman, she can never have a bad match with anybody, seemingly. And then her comments in character before and after the show are insanely hilarious, bro. I have to edit myself down because I want to say something else. But, we see it, and she's awesome, bro. Like, if Tony Khan does not do what he's supposed to do contractually with her, then there is a butt ton of money waiting for her in WWE.
Oh, 100%. And honestly, I have to agree with you that it's all going to come back around at some point. Because as I said about AEW the other day when you weren't on the show, AEW is where a lot of these wrestlers go in order to do their passion projects and really show what they can become. And that's really what you're seeing in All In, because a lot of these stories have culminated now and aren't done, especially the Death Riders. So now that we're sitting out here and we're, John Moxley no longer the face of AEW with the
finally
moved. do we potentially get a John Moxley return in the WWE here in the near future? What say you? And we'll end on this.
Never say never. Anything can happen in my Triple H voice. You never know. We're just gonna make those calls and see how it goes, and maybe John picks up the phone.
I need to figure out how much he's got left on this contract, because if he does not have that much left, and this is a short-term situation, I think with everything boiling the way it has in the WWE, you see Roman on the last couple years of his career. We see Seth obviously dealing with injuries and stuff. I think it's becoming time that it's almost necessary to get one last ride out of the Shield before it's done.
Why not?
I think it's necessary at this point. But that is where we will end it. My friend, thank you so much for your time as always. And we will talk next week.
No problem. You guys take care. And, we're still going to keep up on the wrestling, but all the wrestling fans out there tuned in, it's okay to take a break this week. We went through a lot over
What are you
the
talking
weekend.
about? I don't break.
There's
I was
no
4 days.
breaks.
It was 5 days straight. My guy.
Hey, man. Hey, go
5 days
outside,
straight.
touch some grass. Look at the
Crazy,
sky for a little bit.
I'm going on a week plus worth of wrestling.
Take a shower. Y'all will be
LFG, I need
okay.
to catch up on LFG. I got some documentaries to
I'm
watch.
glad you brought that up. My guy and your guy went head to head in last night's or on Sunday's episode of LFG too. So
I'm gonna catch up on that, and we'll discuss it next week, folks.
Sounds good, brother. Thank you so much for your time. We got to take a quick break, pay some bills. This is the Early Bird Special on 101.1 FM, 12:30 a.m. ESPN Bakersfield. I love this song, but I always forget it. At the beginning, and I think it's a Gorilla song for some reason.
It's funny because that Gorilla's up next.
Really nice. Sweet. Welcome back to the
Get
other
out of my head.
I mean, we've been working together for this long. So.
We get some basketball. We got some football news. We
Yes,
got
we do.
all sorts of
We got
stuff to
baseball
wrap up.
news still too, since the former baseball, I guess. But let's start with the good news. The Jets and Garrett Wilson agreed to an extension yesterday, 4 years, $130 million, to lock in the wide receiver for the foreseeable future, at least till
2030.
after 2030. So I understand why you do this. I actually kind of agree with why you do this. When you look at his trajectory, when you look at his stats, he really is up there with the guys of Odell Beckham, Justin Jefferson, Jamar Chase. And when you have somebody of that talent, you lock him down real quick. And honestly, I think this is a good sign for the Jets, believe it or not. Because when you think of the Jets, much like the Lakers, they don't exactly have a great history in terms of keeping young talent around and developing them long enough for them to become stars. So when you have players like Quentin Williams, Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner, who all have many, 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 many reasons to want to leave New Jersey and New York and stop playing for your organization, Woody, for them to turn around and say, you know what? I want to be here. I want to be a Jet for life. That is huge. So locking in Garrett Wilson, I think is a great step for your organization. I think it's a great start bringing in his college quarterback after having a quarterback that he did not like. Probably a great move forward as well. Will it turn into wins for the New York Jets?
We will see.
The world may never know. I honestly don't think so. I don't believe this is one of those earth-shattering moves that's going to be a game changer in terms of putting them in the wild card spot or even a playoff spot. But been surprised before. Maybe the Ohio State team of 2022. I'm sorry, no. When was Justin there? 2018, 2017? Not 100% sure. Regardless, back in the day, the Ohio State offense, maybe they can revitalize the Jets and turn them into a playoff team with new head coach Aaron Glenn, but I am still skeptical. I don't know. What say you, my friend?
I like the signing. I mean, it's good to lock in your number one receiver.
Absolutely.
But I still don't believe Fields is the answer. I just don't see it. But it's the Jets. I think the defense will take a step forward with Aaron Glenn. But I just Wilson. I mean, Wilson is a hell of a receiver. I would have locked him in as early as I could.
Oh, yeah.
And I feel the same way about Sauce because both of them two young studs have both been on the fence on staying in Jersey. So if you can lock them in while you can, because if you have a mediocre season again this year, you're going to have both of your stars wanting out. And I mean, we still are waiting to see if Breece Hall is going to get out, but I think it's good for them before the season starts, because that'll kind of hush the trade talk or him wanting out. And I mean, congratulations, but you're still the Jets.
And a lot of these guys just want to know that the organization wants to build around them,
And
right?
pay 'em, yeah.
And I think that's really the big message that you sent with this signing to Garrett Wilson, and what you will be sending to Sauce Gardner when his contract inevitably gets done, is that you are building around a young core that you drafted. You're not looking to bring in guys anymore like your Aaron Rodgers situation, because that obviously didn't work. So I think that you're making the right moves as well. And you're obviously turning guys around that, again, the end of last year, Sauce Gardner and Garrett Wilson both had been very vocal about saying, we want out. We do not want to play in New York. Now they have turned it around. The new coaching hire, the GM, everything that they've got moving forward. I don't know if Woody is just selling the greatest snake oil on the planet to these kids, but whatever it is, they're rallying the team. They're getting them to believe in whatever they're building, which is a good step forward. And maybe, I don't know, maybe it's just the negative connotation that we all have when it comes to the Jets and teams like the Browns, that traditionally when they make moves like this, it doesn't work out very well. Maybe it's just our pre-existing notions of what this team used to be from a couple years ago and from last year. But I'm still skeptical on if this is going to work out for you in the long run. I think you still have a lot of issues on the offensive line you need to figure out. And honestly, right now, all I'm seeing is that you have the offense that the Bears used to have, a fantastic wide receiver, a young quarterback that can run and is probably going to be running for his life 80% of the year, along with a running back who's really, really talented, but not exactly happy with his situation, and a solid defense at best, unless Aaron Glenn can turn around and make them essentially what Detroit was last year. So until I could see some sort of production from the offensive side of the ball, at least, and Garrett Wilson become a number one wide receiver that is capable of being in the same conversation of Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase in more than just probability, I'm not going to believe the Jets are going to get anywhere close to, I don't know, what do you think? 7 games, 8 games this year? I think that's being pretty dang generous.
I was going to say that's pretty generous.
And that's
I think if any team is going to, I'm still leaning on New England being the better team in this division.
I'm glad that you brought that up because that's exactly what I was just going to say is that's if New England doesn't pan out, because I agree with you. I think if there's any team in that division in the AFC East that people need to look at and be worried about, it's the New England Patriots, because Vrabel, McDaniels, and that offense and defense are ready to come and pop people in the mouth.
The only thing I'm not worried or I'm not sold on in New England is their quarterback.
Yeah, jury's still out about Drake. I think Drake May is a great athlete and can probably be a solid starter.
I think he's a good Band-Aid for them to build this year, and I think they'll be shopping for a quarterback next year.
I mean, it's entirely possible. We'll see.
But that's a lot of talk. But who knows? Football will be right around the corner, and we'll be talking a lot of football. And speaking of receivers, the Commanders came out this morning and said they will retire Hall of Fame wide receiver Art Monk's number 81 jersey this season.
Nice.
And he is only the 6th player in franchise history to get his number retired.
So what do you think? I feel like the Hall of Fame is, an accolade in itself. And I think getting your jersey number retired, I put that actually above the Hall of Fame, in my opinion. But what do you think a player needs to do in order to have their number retired? Like, what is the minimum that a player would have to do, in your opinion, to get their number retired?
I mean, the Hall of Fame thing counts.
Yeah.
But I think that just the loyalty of those types of players, the Art Monks, the Darryl Greens. I mean, when you think about that team, you think of those players. I think that's the accolade that gets you the retired number for a franchise. I think if you're thinking of a team and that's the first, I mean, Art Monk is one of the few guys I think of when I think of the Commanders or the Redskins. And it's awesome. I remember growing up, I used to play Art Monk on my Tecmo Bowl. So
really,
that's great to see. And it's just one of those other teams. I mean, what are they going to be doing this year? I mean, I've heard a lot on Unsportsmanlike in the mornings before our show, and they think that they're going to digress this year. And I think, I
don't know if they're going to go downhill or not. I think that obviously the surprise factor of what they could have been is now off the table because everyone's expecting them to be successful. And Dan Quinn is a fantastic head coach, but he does do a lot better when people aren't expecting him to do well. That is coming from a former Atlanta fan, or a former Atlanta fan who obviously this man used to be the head coach for, is my point. But I have to agree with you. I think it's more the just longevity of playing with a team. I think there are a handful of players that can obviously transcend that and probably have their number retired by multiple teams that they played for them. Your LeBron Jameses would probably be in that conversation at the end of his career, because if you don't think Cleveland's going to retire 23, LA is probably going to retire 23, and Miami will retire 6. Yeah, actually, the Lakers, maybe not. I'm going to actually double back on that one. But Miami and Cleveland, 100% are going to retire LeBron's number. So there are a handful of players that can do it on multiple teams and transcend that. But I have to agree with you. I think in order to get your jersey retired by a team, you have to have a long-standing just loyalty to them and obviously sustained greatness. So
I think it's just as important as the Hall of Fame, if not better, like you had said.
I genuinely believe that getting your number retired by a team actually puts it higher on the Hall of Fame than the Hall of Fame. I genuinely do. I think the Hall is great, but in a certain stint, most Hall of Fames for most sports organizations are really just popularity contests, and whether the writers liked you or not. So especially
just like
when it comes to baseball. Yeah.
Getting your statue out front of the stadium.
That is, yeah. If at any point in time your team has immortalized you like that, either in a statue or in a rafter as your number is retired, I personally put that higher up on the board than Hall of Fame. But
well,
that's just
we'll take our final break. We'll wrap up with a little Bridgewater talk, and a baseball former pitcher was found guilty this morning. We'll talk about that and much more right here on the Early Bird Special.
deep cut. I don't think anybody knows this song. I love when they feature artists that no one knows. Like the Gorillas have featured with so many artists well before they ever got famous. Like big, like Callie Uchis right now is huge. She did a song with them a couple years ago, and I love that song.
I like it when they use old school underground rappers too.
Yes.
Like when they used Del the Funky Homo Sapien.
Yes. That was fun. Gorillas are just and you know what's funny is they have changed so much, obviously, in band and out of band. Because for those of you who don't know who the Gorillas are, just lived under the rock since 2000. The Gorillas are a band that you don't know what they look like. because every rendition of them has been a cartoon. Even their concerts are holograms of the cartoons. So it's like they've been able to keep this band going for over 2 decades. It's been one central guy who has swapped out a lot of other bandmates throughout the years, but he has done such amazing work with all of these artists too, and featured so many great artists and given them a platform. That's why I love the Gorillaz. It is one of those bands that I just like, I will forever follow you no matter what you put out there. I say the same thing about Korn and Linkin Park. I don't care. Korn dropped that dubstep album. I still listen to it to this day. I really do. I don't care if I'm a homer, and it's because they're from here.
I like the solo album
I do
that
too.
John did. So I was like, and nobody gives him credit for that album
Never.
either. So
we always hear about Corey Taylor going solo, but we never hear about John. I'm like, John did a great job. I mean,
I've
didn't
seen
sell as
Korn
well, but
probably 12 times, but I saw John solo, and that was probably one of my favorite shows of all time.
we got to get him on the show. I know we have. I mean, he knows my dad pretty well, I guess. I need to talk to my dad about that. I keep meaning to ask him.
Well, we've been reaching. I got denied a couple times because he
Did you?
doesn't like radio and he doesn't like the mornings.
Nah, well,
I said we could
neither do-
pre-record.
No musician ever does. Let's be honest.
Well,
but
before we get into these stories, I got to run down these 2 texts real
Yes.
quick. One said Seth freaking Rollins has already done the crutches thing with Triple H. They ain't gonna repeat that one again.
I feel like that we say they ain't, but
They will.
they've done it in the past, dude. You kidding me? They do callbacks in wrestling all the time. So I think I would not be surprised to see it happen again.
And one of the your original questions in the first hour, this
Yes.
one says, I can see both sides of it, but me personally, I like the more competitive all-star games, but my kids would much rather watch Bombers all game because it keeps them entertained.
I get liking home runs and all that stuff, but if that is the case, then why don't we get more views in the home run derby? Why do we have kids not care about the home run derby? Like, you know what I mean? Like, clearly you don't care that much. Everybody cares about just something that's going to keep them entertained and glued to the TV. And personally, I don't know, maybe it's just me.
But I think if Judge and Otani would, they break records of the viewership.
Oh, absolutely. But here's the thing. If I get Paul Skeens versus Aaron Judge, I'm glued. If I get Scooble versus Shohei, I'm glued. I don't care which way it goes, but I want the 100-mile-an-hour pitcher still too. I don't want.
How about Otani versus Judge?
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Pitch into it.
Although we're not going to get that this year because
No.
obviously he wasn't on the board for the pitchers. He didn't pitch enough this year to be able to qualify, but it is on the table. He's done it in the past. He has pitched and hit in the All-Star game before. So maybe next year, if he can get healthy and the Dodgers can keep him on the mound for an entire season.
Well, former MLB pitcher Dan Serafini, 51, was found guilty at first-degree murder, attempted murder, burglary, and related firearm charges in connection with the June 5th, 2021 incident that he did with his in-laws.
I mean, because killing of the father and I believe the mother survived, right? And then ended up
Barely.
herself at the months later. Terrible, terrible story. Get your butt in jail. That's all I could say. Like, it's just like the stuff we talked about last week when it comes to a lot of these slap on the wrist stuff. I say throw your butt in jail. I don't need to see you for the rest of your life. I really don't. If you're willing to do this to people that are that close to you, your in-laws. I mean, I know everybody hates their in-laws, but come on,
Not to
dude.
that point.
Come on, dude. Like, you don't need to be doing that. That's ridiculous. You don't need to be in society. We don't need people like you in society. So I say good riddance.
Yep.
Peace out. I don't care if you played in the MLB and were the greatest pitcher of all time. Get gone. Be bye-bye. Don't care.
This story we wanted to get to before the wrap of the show is former quarterback Teddy Bridgewater
Yes.
has been suspended from his role as a head coach at Miami Northwestern High School following allegations that he provided pretty much benefits to players covering Uber rides, pregame meals, recovery services.
Here's the thing.
Out of his own pocket, though.
He sold himself out too. That's the worst part about this, is that the only reason that they found out about this is that he went to social media to start a campaign for parents to start helping him out with this. And he just highlighted that he had been handling all of this by himself,
And they said,
and that
"What?"
he could use help. Yeah, exactly. And everyone said, "Excuse me, you've been doing what now? That's not legal." And to be honest with you, I'm just going to come out and say it. He should be celebrated for it, not reprimanded. This is ridiculous. The fact that you're gonna suspend him for taking care of his players, for feeding his players, for
bad
getting
man.
them home
What
safely.
a horrible person.
Oh my God. It was such a terrible man, using his millions upon millions of dollars that he got from the NFL, playing quarterback for over a decade, just using it on the community. Oh God, how terrible of a person
And
this
usually
man is.
that's what people are asking for these stars
Exactly.
to do.
We
So
are
when they do it, they penalize them.
exactly. You're begging for handouts, but when it goes to your kids, you're pissed about it. Shut up. That's so just. He should be celebrated for this. I'm glad he went to social media and said, "I'm not going anywhere. This is crazy, but it is what it is. I'll take the punishment and I'll walk away." He even said, "If I have to, I'll just be in the stands like I was for 2018, 2019 when I was playing football still." Like, it's ridiculous to me that they reprimanded him for this. It really, truly is. And who knows? Maybe the board will just sit there and say, "You know what? It was in good faith. It's not like he was, cheating." The worst part about it, in my opinion, is that he was also paying for recovery equipment for his team, which obviously gives them a little bit of an edge. But should we really be penalizing him for that? I say no.
So if a booster club did it,
Exactly.
it's
Would
all
it
right.
be that much of a problem?
But not you, coach.
And he is an alumni too. So what if he made a donation as an alumni? Would that have been
If he would have
okay?
set up a nonprofit before that in his name, then it'd been all
High school
quiet.
sports are ridiculous. This is why we usually let Greg Kerr talk about it, but it is what it is. That's all we got for you guys today. Join us tomorrow. Bolt Brady joining us to talk about the British Open in golf. Help you out with that. Sparky, let's get out of here.